to go live really quick while my kids are playing in another room. I can hear them on the monitor, so if they start screaming, I may just jump off. But you know, mom life, gotta fit it in when you can. That's the beautiful thing about this account. You can fit it in when you can. If you're a stay-at-home mom, plenty of stay-at-home moms are making millions, thousands, hundreds of dollars from home. So anyway, I wanted to talk about how I got into this, and maybe some people can relate. I think for most of us, it started with scrolling on Instagram and finding these women who were making ridiculous amounts of money. And at first, like with the $7 course back when I was scrolling, if you know what that is, Legendary Marketer, I saw people promoting that one and it just didn't stick out to me. I was like, man, that just doesn't sound like my thing. And I'm so glad that I had the discernment at the time, because if you know, that whole thing like imploded. Whereas master resale rights courses are totally different. They are a totally different format, totally different ball game. It's not one big giant affiliate company holding all the earnings for everybody. It's individual sellers getting paid individual payments by individual people. So it's very much more like spread out and not all consolidated under one umbrella. So anyway, the way that I actually got started was I followed Amy Porterfield, if you know who that is. She's a podcaster, and her podcast is called Online Marketing Made Easy. And I would listen to some of her episodes because I love business and try to apply it to my other stuff. But then I was like, man, this girl's doing something different. I don't know what she's doing, because she was very vague. And the industry was so gatekeepy, I feel like, before master resale rights dropped. And so if I keep looking that way, it's because there's a big giant tree out here and I'm like watching the wind blow the leaves and stuff. But anyway, Amy Porterfield was kind of like my gateway in, and Jenna Kutcher, if you know who she is. I'm a big podcast junkie. Sorry. What'd you say, Grace? Anyway, I'm a big podcast junkie, and so I would listen to Jenna Kutcher and Amy Porterfield, and they were always talking about an email list, and it went over my head every time. I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't care what you're talking about. What you're talking about is not meaningful to me. But the more I listened, the more I was like, man, I don't know why they keep harping on this. And then whenever master resale rights came across, I was like, oh, this is like talking about that too, but it's only $497. Whereas when I went on the Jenna Kutcher and Amy Porterfield tracks of trying to learn, if you're someone who is interested in online marketing, you know these names. These are big, big names in the industry. I would say they're some of the top earners in the industry. So when I went down their sales funnels, which I didn't know what those were at the time, when I went down them, I would end up in pages where I realized that their courses they were offering were like $3,000, $5,000, $20,000 masterminds. And I'm just like, no, like absolutely not. And I even tried to convince myself like, well, maybe like I just don't value myself. Maybe I need to like invest in something bigger than myself and it'll push me. But no, I think now when I saw master resale rights stuff coming across my feed, I was like, wait a second. Oh, they're being super transparent with the price. You don't have to go down some weird sales funnel to find the price. And so for me, I found a girl named Rachel, and she was a mom of two just like me. And she kept sharing all of this stuff. She was like a little bit overweight like me. She had just had a baby like me. So I could really relate to her. And she had a husband that worked a blue collar job just like me. So if you're hearing what I'm saying, it's like with this sales stuff, it's very much like who can relate to you. And so many people on here, I think they overthink it. I know I overthink it, where I'm like, oh, but like, no, I need to be like this big promising person to somebody. No, you need to be yourself. And somebody is desperately looking for somebody else in their situation that has broken out. And I'll just be really transparent with you about some things in our situation. We live in Texas, and Texas has had a giant influx of people coming from all over the U.S., especially from the West Coast. They fled after COVID and like their states got shut down and stuff. But Texas stayed pretty free. Most of, I feel like the South and like the middle states stayed free and let the residents figure out what they wanted to do with that according to their own safety. No, Willie, we're not going to move the camera. Here, come sit with mommy on the bed. So, yeah, because of that, the markets here are tight. They are insane. The housing market is super high right now. It's not affordable for someone, in my opinion, making below $150,000 a year. If you're making around $100K a year, that's the new 50 grand. Like, that's the new, like, median income. And there's like articles that say the comfortable average living here in North Texas is, I want to say it's around $230,000 a year. That's so crazy to me because that sounds like just ridiculous money a few years ago, but now it sounds very like, oh no, that makes sense. Like, it's sad. But anyway, because of that, scrolling past these digital marketing numbers sounded like, oh, that's exactly the kind of money I need to be making. It didn't sound like outlandish. It sounded very much just like, oh, like, yeah, that's the kind of money that you need to make to even think about applying for a home loan. And so with another transparent part about where we are is, there's like a homeless shelter that was put in near us, and I'm not too jazzed about that. Like, I'm all about helping people. I'm all about housing people, taking care of people, whatever. But unfortunately, it has caused more of a criminal problem in the area. It has caused taxpayer dollars to go to something that is not actually equipped to help as many people are being bused here who need that help. And that I could get in on that soapbox a whole other day. But I'm just saying, there were some changes that I realized that I wanted to make for our family, that my husband wants to make for our family. And those are just some things that we're dealing with right now. That we're like, oh, like, if we want to level up, we're going to have to level up. Like, it's like, I don't need to save $20,000. That's barely even a cushion in this economy. We're going to have to make quite the jump. And if you see several digital marketers on here making like $100,000 in a few months, or 200, 300, 400, 500, it's like their lives aren't changing. They're not just totally upgrading their lives, because that's actually like the kind of money that you need to break out of the threshold of debt, of taxes, of car payments, of just the housing market here in America. You need, to me, $100,000 sounds just about right. Whereas before I used to think, oh, to get a house, you need to save about $20,000 or $30,000 maybe. Not even. But now with this market, if you want to compete, if you want a decent mortgage that isn't $4,000, $5,000 a month for a little cracker box house, you need to put a substantial down payment down. And that's just the hard truth of it right now. So saying all of that to say, when I was scrolling last summer and saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, because I had been trying to crack the code all summer. I was like looking into Etsy shops. I was looking into printing, print on demand stuff. I was looking into thrift flipping. I was looking into all the ways that people tell you to look. And none of it was jazzy enough for me. None of it caught my attention the way that the master resale rights did. Because I was like, okay, finally a high ticket product. Because I'm a wedding videographer. I'm used to selling a high ticket product, something that's in the thousands of dollar range. And I'm not willing to just trade my time for pennies anymore. The way that I used to be like, oh yeah, it's exciting to make a craft and maybe make some money off of it. No. Like, I won't even consider like a craft fair at a booth anymore. I used to think that sounded really fun. I think it's awesome if you want to do that stuff because it fulfills you. But in this economy, it is not going to pay your bills. It's not going to pay for your groceries. Groceries are insane. My husband and I had a date night the other night, and we started talking about budget things. And we're in a really healthy place in our relationship where we can talk about money very openly. So I've heard from other marriages that they can't. It's kind of like a minefield to talk about that stuff. But for us, I am not a wife who overspends at all. So I feel like my husband can really trust me that when I say this is what we have to buy, like this is what it costs. And he was shocked at the number because it's not $1,000 a month. It's not $1,500 a month, like for what we pay in groceries for a family of 4, almost 5. And that's because we want organic food. We want good meat. We buy some things in bulk, and it just costs. It costs at the end of the day. And so I'm just super passionate about the family unit and how I feel like the systems in this current economy, under this current government, however long it's been in America, it's been building and building and building. But ever since the Industrial Revolution, families were separated. We used to be more of a rural, spread out type people, and production was centered around households. And then ever since the Industrial Revolution, men started leaving the home, going to cities, and they would all leave the rural areas, leaving women at home alone with the kids. And then women also started joining in industrial jobs, like, what do they call it? Not factories, like men went to factories, but women were like seamstresses and things. Whereas before, everybody was working out of the home, like selling milk or wool, or if you were the pig farmer, you were selling pork, or, you know, just whatever specialized thing that you had. If you were a beekeeper, you guys were selling goods made from honey and beeswax and whatnot. So just saying, we've moved away from that in society, and that's why I think homesteading and all of that is such a big trend. But all of this stuff, it's so funny. I'm such a big picture person, so I'm trying to bring it back in. But to me, online sales, digital sales, are a way to bring things back home, at least for a time, to get yourself launched into more of back that rural lifestyle, maybe, if you will, if that's something you're interested in. If you want to stay in the city, fine. But for us, raising a family, especially with 2 boys, I don't want them to be bored. I want them to be skilled and equipped and learn how to hunt, have natural instincts outdoors. And right now where we live is not conducive to that. So with all, I'm just painting my picture, my dream, and I know that's the dream of so many too, but with the Industrial Revolution, with it separating everybody, women going to work as seamstresses and other like more concentrated areas in cities, that left women with the conflict of childcare. And so then now children were separated from the family, or separated from each other in school, or in standardized industrialized schools that fit the factory workers' schedule, 8 to 5, 9 to 5. You know, we still follow that model pretty, I don't know, I would say it's pretty common in today's society. The 5-day work week is very common. You see some companies breaking away from that with work-life balance and going to 4-day work weeks and stuff. And some schools are even moving to 4-day work weeks. And I love the shift that I'm seeing, but it's still hard. It's hard. It hits families the hardest, because in order for you to have 2 providers in the home, you've got to have childcare. So digital marketing is a way to hack that. It's a way to hack that system. And I really prayed about it before I jumped in. I didn't tell my husband about it before I bought, and I wanted to prove it to myself to see if I could do it. And I made several sales in the first few weeks, and I was like, okay, cool. We finally cracked the code on this. This is great. But lately I've been wanting to get into selling my own products, and that's something that I'll talk about in another live. But I'm just saying, like, how I started, the thought process behind why I started, my heart for families. If you're a mom, if you're a family person, if you value the idea of keeping your family tight and having something to pass on to your kids, skill sets and whatnot, I'm all about that too. That's what we talk about here. And my podcast, She Considers a Field, it's just, there's so many deep things that I haven't even been able to touch on, especially just being someone who, there's no college graduates in my family. There are very few entrepreneurs in my family. Everybody in my family has just been people who work for the man, or live under massive amounts of debt, or who fight over meager inheritances. And that's just sad to me. That's sad that is where the family line that I come from. But knowing who I am and who my husband are, I heard this lady say this a few months ago. She said the first one through the window is the bloodiest. And that means, like, if you're the first one breaking through that barrier through the window, you're going to get the bloodiest, because you're the one breaking that glass. But then everybody else gets to run through the window too. And that's mine and my husband's goal. That's many of your goals. Like, if your parents didn't set you up with an inheritance, or with a business to inherit, or set you up in life with skills or down payment on a house, if you didn't have a head start in life, neither did we. We actually had like a backward start in life. I ended up getting kicked out and got married without my family, even at the wedding. So it's all reconciled and redeemed now. But I'm just saying, we have a big vision for our family, and I just dream of having systems in place, businesses in place for them to walk into with us as we guide them with family values and keeping a tight-knit place of belonging. Because humans, we are tribal people. We're meant to be together. If you saw like studies with like tribes, and when someone was ostracized or kicked out, it's devastating for a lone member. But in the West, in America, we are such an individualistic society. And most of us think we just have to go out and do it for ourselves, do it on our own. And we give ourselves a big pat on the back for that. But I don't know, it doesn't have to be that hard for my kids. And I'm okay with busting it now. I'm okay with being the bloodiest first, busting through the window first. And so, yeah, those are just some of the ideals that we stand for. Some of the reasons why I got into digital marketing, because I saw the opportunity that's here. I saw a way to help people on a bigger scale than what I've been able to do in the wedding industry. I can only help one couple at a time in the wedding industry. So anyways, that's just the short live that I have today. Just talking about some of that. Yeah, comment below if you have any questions. If you're watching on replay, let me know if you watch the replay. I'm trying to get to where I'm more concise with these. I want to do them more frequently. If you are interested in getting into digital marketing, lives are important on Instagram. Instagram likes when you go live, so I'm trying to please the algorithm in that way. And then also, I am 20 weeks pregnant, which is why I sound like I'm out of breath, because I am out of breath. So my last thing is, if you're just curious about any of this, I have a free guide, a free launch guide. It's literally everything I wish I would have known when I started out, and it's not a waste of your time. You could literally launch an online business simply from the free product that I have in my Stan Store. And then you can get the template. Like, say you want to make that template your own as a PLR product, it's only $10 in the Stan Store. So yeah, for you it's free to view, to read, to learn. Take everything you want from that. No gatekeeping at all. I hate gatekeeping. And then yeah, if you want to make it your own, it's $10. Okay, that's my kids. I'm gonna go make their dinner. It's heating up right now, but anyway, see you guys in the next live. Thanks for watching. Bye.